Yeah, you know what time it is when you hear my voice. Get that crack pipe out of your mouths. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, and the wider market. And if you really want to know where the market is heading, then this is the video for you. It's going to be a longer video. I'm going to freestyle and just, there's no one here left. There's hardly anyone here left. And I don't blame them. After all the scandals, after all the pump and dumps, I don't blame them. They ran and took their money and put it elsewhere. Good for them. The only people left is the die-hard believers of crypto. The market is pretty much doing nothing, and this is the boring stage of the market. The problem is that every time we move sideways, a group and a cohort of participants either pick two sides. Either this is accumulation or this is distribution. And we will find out sooner or later. You just got to pick your side. If you think that this is the end of the rodeo and the worst is past us, then this is accumulation. If you believe that we still have some more pain ahead of us, then this is distribution. But the fact is, I can only just give you past performance. That's all I show you. I show you past performance, and most of the time it does rhyme. In the previous bear market, we were red for August and September. In the previous bear market of that, it was 2018, it was red, -9 and -5. And then finally in 2014 of that bear market, it was -17 and -20. Now, every single bear market year of August and September have been bloody red candles. And the CBD score for this current bear market is sitting around 48,000 US dollars. The realized price hasn't even triggered yet, and it's sitting at around 52,000 US dollars. The MVRZ score is public information. We haven't got to the green part. Not once in this entire cycle. Every time we got to this, categorically every single time has marked close to the bottom. We haven't got there yet, ladies and gentlemen. You are talking about a bottom because it's moving sideways. Volatility has decreased and decreased. I've been speaking about this for weeks, that this is going to happen. For weeks. Yet you're still believing some of these bulltards, thinking that this time is different. I made this tweet on the 15th of June, 2025, and I was screaming to folks. I was telling folks it's over. They didn't want to hear it. A lot of participants were high on their own supply. They were waiting for altcoin season. They were waiting for all the money from TradFi to come, for all of us to realize we were the exit liquidity. Unfortunately, this was painful. This was a painful moment, but I had to tell everyone what the reality was. And right now, the same participants that were speaking about Bitcoin going up higher and higher are constantly calling for a bottom. They called for a bottom here, we went down. They called for another bottom and we went down. They're calling for another bottom again, and we're gonna drop. In my personal opinion, we're still going to drop further. On this channel, we've successfully navigated the entire bear market. I've been getting constant abuse, constant pushback, constantly. I don't like to do this just for fun and games. I'm just telling you what I see in the charts. Now, there are some analysts or some investors that are speed running the entire process. So they're practically saying that we've completely bypassed this stage. Now we're at capitulation. We can look forward to spring. So they're comparing this and they're saying, you know what? It's all done. We've heard all the bad news. We've heard everything. It's all priced in. And now they're looking at spring and they're watching this fractal right here. So it's a good argument. I'm not going to say it's a bad argument, but they're just saying that what's going to happen is that participants are going to front run this Q3 or Q4 kind of moment, and we're going to see a spring moment. And 57,000 was the bottom, which could be a good argument so far. I'm not denying that we're very close at the bottom. And at the end of the day, if you're DCing and buying crypto now, it's actually a good time to buy and DCA. Now, some folks are obsessed about finding bottoms, but if you are roughly around 10% or 20% away from the lows, then you've got a good deal on your hands, because it's 3 years of up after that. My counter argument is this: every August and every September we've seen red monthly candles. So time will tell, ladies and gentlemen, in August and September what will happen next. So far, this fractal is playing out. We formed a slightly higher high and then we're kind of chopping sideways. We'll see a real definitive answer we get to 57,000 US dollars. This is Bitcoin's volatility index, and it just means every time we hit these lower or these upper areas of this range, it just means volatility is about to step in. Now, it doesn't give you a direction, but it just tells you simply that volatility is getting weaker and weaker into the point where there's going to be some sort of price action happening next, either to the upside or to the downside. So we had a dump on my lower left hand side right over here, where Bitcoin went from around 29k all the way to around 25,000 US dollars. Then it got to the higher range, volatility stepped in, Bitcoin was around 72,000 and then dropped all the way to around 53,000 US dollars. And then we had, obviously, the biggest one was this area here when Bitcoin was roughly, give or take, around 123,000 US dollars. And then consequently, or as a result of that, there were normal buyers left, and then volatility stepped back in, as you can see. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting very, very close to this range, very close. So maybe by September, October, we'll see some sort of volatility step in. People love to show these kind of charts where it's aggregated spot volume versus the aggregated volume in dollars and the delta and this and that. It's just people are overcomplicating things. I look for a massive volume increase, ladies and gentlemen. So we continue to go down. As this goes down, ladies and gentlemen, the volume sets in and it kicks in, guys, until we get a massive sell wall. This is capitulation, and that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, the volume has kicked in, but it was around February. Now, volume is the same. This period is literally the same period as we had something like this, ladies and gentlemen. 17th of May 2022, we had a massive dead cat bounce. The sellers panicked during that time. Everyone really panicked, and then we formed a dead cat bounce. That is not the same thing as here, ladies and gentlemen. We formed a dead cat bounce. That's all it was right over here. We formed a dead cat bounce, but what I am looking for is volume to really step in. Now, some folks are saying because we didn't have a euphoric blow off top, that means we're not going to have like a massive capitulation candle down, which is a valid point. Because we had an apathetic top, then it could mean that this is the bottom, because people weren't really buying Bitcoin like that. They were just buying meme coins. If you look at the 200 EMA in the previous cycle in 2020, we kissed it. In the previous cycle to that, we had in 2022, we went just underneath it for quite some time. And currently, right as of now, as of today, we're just tethering on the 200 weekly moving average. The rainbow charts are pretty much fugazi. That is now kind of debunked. It doesn't really have much relevance. We have the Mayer multiplier. At the moment, we're at the very lows, or very close to the lows. We'll have a look at the bull market support band, aka now it's the bear market resistance band. It has been a moment of upthrust. It's the peak, and then we head back lower. It's the peak and we head back lower, and currently the bull market support band sits around 69,000 US dollars and some change. Profitable days indicator is showing 82%, which is healthy, which is not a good sign. Normally you need the sellers, or the bag holders shall I say, to be in extreme pain. So we still have some more to go. The bear market comparison, and the closest comparison, is 2018. So literally we're doing the same thing that we done in 2018. Everyone's going to get really bullish. Everyone's going to think that this is the bottom, and it's going to continue for some while until we wait or we see our capitulation bottom. A lot of folks are saying that this isn't going to happen. We're going to front run this, yada yada. The same people said the same thing time and time again. Maybe this time will be different. The social metric is at 7. It's at the lowest it's been for a very long time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is it for Bitcoin, that we found the absolute bottom. Last time the social metric was around 6.7, and the price of Bitcoin was actually at 39,000 US dollars. We didn't bottom until 16,000 US dollars. So this is not the greatest metric to follow in tangent with buying a bottom. Likewise, the attention IQ, or aka the social metric of Ethereum back in 2022, was at 4, and it was very quiet, and the price was actually almost at 3k, but the price actually bottomed all the way at 994, and the social metric was actually at 20. So this is not the best indicator to buying bottoms, but in the long run it is a very good indicator for just selling at tops. So every single time this social metric was at 99 or close to 100, ladies and gentlemen, at around 3,600, then again at 3,800, and then finally again at 4,900, it was a very good time to take profits. The monthly returns for August, combining all the bull markets and the bear markets, is actually 3%, and likewise in September it's actually minus 2.9%. So this is combining everything, bull, bear, everything. We have the elephant in the room, and this is SPX. SPX continues to go up higher and higher and higher, mainly because of hyperinflation. Everyone's getting poorer, and they're printing and continue to print and taking wealth from the middle class. You're not getting richer, ladies and gentlemen. It just means you're getting poorer. If you compare this with gold, stocks haven't done much since 1979, and that is the actual truth. So far the S&P 500 has made new highs, which has alleviated a lot of pressure on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a vacuum, it's not a vessel unto itself. It lives in the wider market as well. So far we haven't seen the typical Q4 dump. At the moment for the year, what we have seen is a decrease right here from the beginning of the year in January all the way till middle of the year, or sorry, should I say April. It went down by 10%. Ever since, it's gone up higher and higher and shown a lot of strength. However, normally what we tend to see in every kind of Q4 period of the bear market of the midterm election year, we see a seismic correction. We saw it in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. We saw it in 2018, ladies and gentlemen, and we saw it many other times. This is not the first time this has happened. Ethereum is showing some strength. We bought right over here. This was public knowledge. I showed it on my Twitter. I showed it everywhere. We bought right over here, and also it's outperforming on its Bitcoin pair, which is no surprise, ladies and gentlemen. This is one thing that does definitely keep me up at night, is many participants, unfortunately or fortunately, have been orange pilled. So what they've all done is they've all allocated everything into Bitcoin. I told everyone on his Bitcoin pair. I made this publicly. This was the very bottom, and it was okay for Bitcoin and Ethereum pair. It stopped bleeding ever since, and this was the bottom in April 2025. It's all documented, and right now we are in, believe it or not, we are in a spring for Ethereum. Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin if you bought in April 2025. We're doing the same thing that we done in previous cycles, guys. Everything rhymes. We're just doing exactly the same thing. We formed a higher low, and we're doing that right over here. We formed a higher low exactly like I predicted right over here, and literally we're doing the same thing. I think Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin. The problem was everyone was buying Bitcoin. Sorry, everyone was buying Ethereum at the very top of its Bitcoin and Ethereum pair. Everyone. We had the merge, and ever since it's been underperforming during a bull market. Now again, everyone is doing the same mistake that they've done previously, and this is what markets do. They punish you for joining the herd. They always punish you. No one is touching Ethereum here. Solana is very predictable. It's very easy to read, ladies and gentlemen. We're forming the same pattern that we've done previously. We formed a head and shoulders in this cycle. Left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder, and then that was it. This was all distribution. Likewise, the same thing happened over here in the previous bull run. We formed a right shoulder, a left shoulder, sorry, a head, and then a right shoulder, followed by distribution. Once again, same thing here, ladies and gentlemen. This was distribution, and then we have a final selling climax, and same thing happened. We have selling climax, and then we have distribution or accumulation. Now this period was a freak accident. I think we're just gonna get to this stage right over here like I predicted so many times. XRP technically looks very good, ladies and gentlemen. We have always somehow, some way, have always formed higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. At the moment we've had a deep correction. This is a buy the dip opportunity. If you want to hold XRP for the long run, it's down 72%, which in the grand scheme of things is not as bad as the previous cycle where it dropped 96%. We still have some more pain to go for this coin, ladies and gentlemen. Chainlink unfortunately had a terrible bull run. I can't even call this a bull run. Technically this is a actual bear market, and it's been in a bear market for roughly from 2021 all the way till now, roughly 6 years, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't formed a higher high. So normally in a cycle or in a bull run, what tends to happen is this is a normal bull run, ladies and gentlemen. We form higher highs and higher lows and higher highs and higher lows. Now, if what happens is, if it does something like this, where we form a pump and then a dump and then a lower high, and then that's it, pretty much it's not looking good at all. It's just a pump and dump. This is another coin, Stacks. It actually formed a higher high. Believe it or not, it formed an actual higher high in 2024. So this has actually participated in a bull run. Ever since, unfortunately, it's gone down 96%. I know the Tau community is massive and strong, but who's going to really tell them the truth? Who's going to actually tell them the truth? This is distribution, ladies and gentlemen. You can type this down, find out. You can take a picture of this and put it on ChatGPT and it will tell you that this is distribution. I don't have to tell you none of this. I've been telling you that this is distribution. I've been screaming this out for the longest. Yet you folks want to continue to bull post this pile of dog shit. This pile of dog shit, and you've missed the biggest trade of your entire lives. These AI stocks have gone parabolic and it's outperformed everything, and yet you're sitting here talking about Tau. This is how delusional crypto can be, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a story as old as time. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is with crypto participants and their IQ level. Sui was meant to be the Solana killer of some sort, and I did say to everyone literally on 1010 right over here, this is no word of a lie. I'm not even bullshitting anything, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, I predicted that this was happen, and I said to everyone, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Before this even happened, I told everyone to get the fuck out. And unfortunately, everyone continued to hold and hold and hold and hold. And I said to everyone, we're going to fill this wick. Everyone. This is a year ago. And guess what happened? We filled the fucking wick. No one wanted to listen to me. And since then, from here all the way to here, it went down 78%. And you know what? Guess what I'm going to say next? We're going to fill the wick. So we have to go down even further. Aave has headed home after consecutively, I think 9 red monthly candles or something. We'll count it together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I was right. 9 red monthly candles. We've headed back home all the way to the previous accumulation period. We have technically, unfortunately, formed a lower high, which means that Aave has technically been in a bear market for 6 years. Let's talk about coins that have actually done something amazing, guys, and this is definitely one of them, and this is Tron. Tron has continued to go up strength from strength. This is the monthly, and it's just green candles after green candles. And even if you compare this to Bitcoin, it's outperformed Bitcoin massively, ladies and gentlemen, right over here. It's outperformed a huge amount from here to here. If you held Tron from January 2021 till now, you outperformed Bitcoin by 600%. Not only that, we're getting very close to its first ever Bitcoin denomination pair, which is unheard of. We haven't seen something outperform Bitcoin in the long run. Not only that, we can compare this, ladies and gentlemen, to Ethereum. Now, Ethereum looks even more amazing. When you compare this to Ethereum, let's have a look. Let's have a look at Ethereum and compare it to Ethereum. It looks even more outstanding. If you had held Tron since April 2022, it would outperform Ethereum by a massive 800%. And likewise, it's doing the same thing. We are very close to its first ever Tron and Ethereum pair. When it first listed, normally what happens is a coin never really gets above this first huge run up. So this is extremely rare. I think it's never done before, in my opinion. I think it's never in a long run. I don't even think XRP has done this. So this is going from strength to strength to strength. And the main reason is what? It actually has utility, ladies and gentlemen. There is a massive cohort of people that are actually using Tron for their stable coins. Monero has an actual use case. People actually use it, unlike Zcash. People are using it right now. And as I said, we're going to get above this area. I'll show you on the daily, and it got above this area. It held. I kept on buying and buying, and now we're in the money. This trend line has held for a very, very long time. I think maybe since 2024 April, or 2024 February, this trend line has held. And every time you bought around this area or just below this area, you have been rewarded. It's a buy the dip opportunity for Monero. Monero. The trend is your friend. If something tends to go up, it continues to go up. If something tends to go down, it continues to go down. But the problem is many crypto participants have got things wrong. They've done the opposite. So if something goes down, what they tend to do is buy more. I'll give you this, for example, and this has gone down a massive amount. So from here to here, this is a whole heap of pain for participants. It's gone down 99.4%, 99.4%. And what participants tend to do, for some weird reason, they keep on adding more and more. And this thing keeps on going down and down. And honestly, if something drops 99%, it can continue to drop another 99%. You cut your losers and you add to your winners. Unfortunately, Hyperliquid has kind of retraced. What tends to happen sometimes is we have a fake out. So this could be the top, and then we could continue to go down and down and down. However, if we go back above this trend line right over here, above the previous all-time high, and hold it in that area, I can see a continuation of higher prices. However, if we languish in this area, that means this is a local top, and we're going to retrace lower to around $37. I've noticed whenever we find a local top in Bitcoin, like let's just say Bitcoin's going to go up to around 68,000 to its bull market support band. Let's just say it's going to have one last pump. So what normally happens is meme coins start to see an emergence. And we all know meme coins are a zero-sum game. It's just a last extraction piece to take money from participants. We know that the odds of anyone making money from meme coins are very, very slim. It's better that you just buy a lottery ticket than even join any of these meme coins. Literally, the numbers are very, very clear. It's extremely clear. Roughly 0.4% have ever realized more than 10,000 in profit. 0%. These are less than 1% odds. Only 0.04% have realized over 100,000. Listen to this. One early study found a 6.4% chance of making even $100 plus, and a 0.76% chance of making $1,000. You have a 6% chance just to even make $100. So you've risked hundreds of pounds, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, and the odds of you making money are just 6%. Let me show you a quick educational piece. So Cashcat has made all-time new highs. It just, or very close to all-time new highs, and it's just been listed on Robinhood to their 25 million cohort of customers, and it's had a massive pump from the very bottom to the top. It's gone up 92% on this news. Now all of this is all rigged and orchestrated. You all know that this is all rigged. Yeah, you all know this. No one's making money from this, ladies and gentlemen. You know this by now. So what's going on is there's been a cohort of people that bought right here at the very low. This is the biggest volume, huge volume right over here, right here, massive volume. So there was no volume here until some mysterious person bought at the very bottom. This person bought on a Sunday on the 26th of July. 6 days or 14 days later, on the 6th, it's been listed. So what is going on is a cohort of people are just dumping. It's just a pure pump and dump. It's a marketing instrument just to advertise their chain, which business wise does make sense. But if you buy this, you're just gonna end up holding the bag and actually at a loss. I haven't looked at total for a very long time. This is total excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we have got to this lower range right over here. Like I predicted a long time ago, we have some confluence around this area, ladies and gentlemen, right over here. So it is showing some confluence. Will it drop lower? Let's have a look at total 2. Bear in mind, I haven't even looked at total 1 or total 2 or whatnot. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, total 2 is excluding Bitcoin. This has been the bottom right over here at this trend line. Or you could really just squeeze it right over here. See a trend line forming right over here. Has a lot of confluence all the way down here. So we could see it go down to around 75 billion market cap. This could be the bottom right over here. We're going to have a look at dominance. Bitcoin dominance, unfortunately, hasn't moved at all. However, if you exclude it from stable coins, it has formed new highs. So dominance at the moment is stubbornly going nowhere. So what I'm looking for is dominance to head up higher to around 65%. And I think it will happen just like the previous cycle just over here. So what we tend to do is we tend to get to this area of confluence quite often. And right over here is what we will see. So it tends to do this pattern where it retests the previous high to confirm it as a peak, as a as the very top. So we've done this as well. Again, right over here, we've confirmed it, back tested it, and it continues to go down. So we back test and then we go down, and then this is the final back test, and then we'll see some sort of respite for shitcoins. I haven't spoken about this for a long time either. So this is Bitcoin dominance plus ETH dominance plus stablecoins. Okay, so normally what we tend to see at the very end of the bear market is we tend to see this go all the way up to around 89 to 90. We saw this happen last time, and then it headed all the way back to this area. Will it do it again? I think it will. We will see interest rate cuts, but first we have to have something break. You have to see either a recession or a recessionary scare for your shitcoins to go up. That's as simple as it gets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they all work in this liquidity space. Now we need easing conditions for all of this to go up. I want to speak about gold, because gold has really shown some strength. And in our inner circle, I told participants to buy gold. And right now, in my humble opinion, we're forming a bottom. And I said this earlier, way long ago. I'm not going to show you the timestamps. I said that this was the bottom. And so far, we have been rewarded. I think gold is going to do a massive run up. I think we're going to go up higher, much higher. And that's going to really be the death of Bitcoin in this cycle. I think right now Bitcoin is showing a little bit strength on its gold pair. So far we haven't got to this area right over here, this trend line. So ultimately what I'm looking for, every single cycle it has done that in its Bitcoin and gold pair. We've got to this lower range. We haven't got there yet. We haven't really bottomed out yet. Now we're forming a textbook bear flag, textbook, very easy to see right over here and right over here, ladies and gentlemen. Continuation of the trend to this trend line right over here, and that will mark the bottom. The needle in the coffin was right over here. When I saw this right over here on the 11th of August 2025, we actually formed a lower high, and that was the beginning of the end basically. Interest rates on the 10-year, the 30-year, the 2-year, and the 20-year are all up. They're all up, and they're telling the Fed one simple thing, that it needs to raise interest rates. And maybe this will be the catalyst, maybe this will be the narrative where we find ourselves in the 1970s again, all over again, where the Fed have to raise interest rates. And oil at the moment is stubbornly high. At the moment it's sitting at $72. We still are not at an adequate level for inflation to go back down. Every time America is in a stop and start war with Iran, every time, and this is a never-ending war. This is going to go on for years and years, just like Russia and Ukraine. The death of the dollar, everyone was calling for the dollar to go down. I told many participants the dollar is going to go up. USDT is also going to go up. Now the thing with USDT is dominance. Everyone has this belief that dominance can't go up. Like they think for some reason that there's a hard cap, like it's some sort of scarce asset. This is fiat, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bull flag. Also, you can consider this as a falling wedge, which is bullish. Another bull flag, and it just means a continuation of the trend. We saw this every single time, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing is, the $1 million question is, will this go up higher? Of course it will. Fiat only increases. They print more and more. They mint more and more. So of course this is going to continue to go up. There is no hard cap. Just like it went from 0.1% all the way to a dominance of around 8 or 9%, this is going to continue to go up. Stablecoin dominance is sitting at 183 billion. Ethereum is sitting at 330 billion. In the future, stablecoin dominance will be number one. It will be higher than Bitcoin. There is more fiat in the system, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, we're going to continue to go down. I know you don't want to hear it. I know, I understand, I get it. You want this to be over quickly as possible. But we have a time-based capitulation and a price-based capitulation. Bitcoin has two. We have the best of both worlds.